So my name is Sally Rotich. I am a student at Strathmore, and I also work with some organization. So how was my lifestyle before this new lifestyle? Well, first of all, I wasn't so keen with intentional eating. So you just eat whatever you find in the house. So for example, in our house, we eat a lot of ugali, traditional greens, and the nyama. That's like supper every time. And then lunch, the usual rice, maybe some sort of legumes and cabbage. And now like it will revolve around that, plus other varieties, of course. And then now, fruits for me was like a dessert. I never thought that I can take fruits like breakfast. You get, so for example, after you eat supper, then you're like, wacha niteremshe na ka fruit. And then yeah, so that was just how it was before. So yeah, so Liv Hill, the page, followed me on Instagram, and then I followed back, because the way you look at the profile and you're like, wow, this is interesting. At a plant-based diet, something about the lifestyle and everything. So I was like, this looks interesting. And at that time, I think I was very nilikuwa nimechoka. I was tired of eating the same things all the time. And it's quarantine, this whole COVID period. I was like, wow, I need to switch things up, So I followed back, and then I'd follow consistently with the stories. And there's one time, I think you put like a question, any questions about plant-based diet? And I think I responded something like, hi, would you tell me more about this plant-based diet? And then you responded like, no, it's not a plant-based diet, it's a lifestyle. What? So I was like, wow, this is interesting. So now that's when I started following up kabisa. Yeah. And then now eventually I signed up through the for the coaching program when the slots were open finally. Number one for me was energy. All of a sudden, like so I'm telling you, the whole of COVID period, you're at home the whole time, you just get lazy, you want to sleep a lot. But for me, I think what changed for me was how I have consistently been waking up at 7 a.m., 6:30. In fact, nowadays, I stopped using my alarm clock. And then number two was how can I put it? I was now more willing, more receptive to trying new things, especially for food. So when you'd there's a time you sent a schedule of some of the type of, like a schedule for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And then I just realized, wow, there's so much I can eat. When someone hears plant-based diet, they just think skuma wiki and spinach. Really? So now, at least for me, I was able to identify a lot of things, from oats to lima beans to chickpeas, sweet potatoes. I never thought that I would eat sweet potatoes with beans or something. So that was like a very interesting discovery for me. I had watched Asuga's video before I signed up for the program, and I think that was more conviction, So after he said those things, that's when I was like, if this person went through this, then I will probably go through it. So I wanted to just try it, yeah. So my typical day, I will have, for breakfast, I will have a lot of fruits. Let's say, I remember when you had started the program, you'd tell us, kula ushibe. Don't just eat because you're eating, eat to get full, so that by the time you have the next meal, it's because you are legitimately hungry, So what I used to do on a typical day, let's say for breakfast, I'd have maybe 3 or 2 bananas, half a pawpaw probably, and then some watermelon, and of course sprinkle some chia seeds or not. Then for lunch, I will have probably brown rice and maybe chickpeas or beans kawaida, and lentils. Oh, I think I loved lentils. and then some cabbage. Yeah, and then for dinner, well, for me, I think it got to a point I was only having 2 meals a day. So I'll have breakfast, maybe later around 10, 11. And then after having the breakfast, I'll have lunch stroke dinner at like 4 p.m. or 5 p.m. And bas, I'm done for the day. I am full the whole day. Hadi, it's like I have to force myself to eat because I'm stuffed like that, you know. I even forgot to mention this earlier, is the oil-free cooking. Because, you know, these other foods, everyone at home has to use oil to cook one or another. But now, for the food that I was eating now during the program, oil-free, completely oil-free. I remember I had a friend over, and then she wanted to cook cabbage with 2 onions and what. I was like, no, we don't do that in this house. You just let the sufuria burn, then ingisha the cabbage and just let it steam naturally. And she was like, what? How? So yeah, I think I was just so happy about that. Yeah, that's number 1. And then number 2 is the intentional eating. I just don't eat because the food is there. What did I enjoy about the program? Number 1, accountability. The accountability calls. That's what I gave the title, accountability calls. So the weekly calls that we will have, you give a feedback of how your week was, where we'd ask questions, hear from the other participants, because I did group coaching. So you hear from the other participants, and then you're like, oh, you're also struggling with that. Me too. Or, you know. So it was very interesting, always hearing from other people. Yeah, so I really enjoyed that. So, you know, during the whole week, you can't mess up. Okay, not necessarily messing up, but you're like, I have to do this because on Saturday or on Sunday, I'll be telling people what happened, you know. Number 2 is how the diet is very sustainable. Wow. I think when people hear vegan or plant-based, they're like, wait, who has that money? Sijui hazelnut milk, sijui what? No. You know, so for me, that was a game changer because I realized all my shopping I will do, it will cost less than 500 or less than 1,000, depending on what I buy. That's for the week. Imagine. So you can, so for me, that was, economically, the diet is on point. Then number 3, I think I really enjoyed having you as a coach because you're very wise and you know a lot about this program. How bahatishi, you know, that's something that like thumbs up. Yeah, so I really enjoyed that. So the way we'd ask you like, hey, Maze, I've been craving this and this, and then you're like, well, scientifically, it's like this, like that. And I'm like, okay. Yeah. When we started, I had given you my goals, how I wanted to be consistent with my weight. And as the program progressed, I ongezad, and then it now ikabaki hapo. So till now, I'm still 66 kgs, and I think I'm grateful for that because at least I hit my goals for the program. Yeah. Well, if you're watching this, let me even address them now. If you're watching this, I highly encourage you to take the program because first of all, it has been tested, it has been tried, and it has been successful. That's number 1. Number 2, you will have, what's the name? The benefits. The benefits are there for sure. So it's you just coming up with goals and deciding to be very intentional and consistent. Yeah, that's number 2. Number 3, I think it will give you a whole different perspective about diets and lifestyles. It's not the same thing you see on your apps and on websites. This is something true, and you know, having someone to guide you through the whole program is probably the best. Yeah, so go for it. The benefits are there, 100%. Some of them I maybe didn't mention, but the benefits are too many to even speak about in one sitting. So yeah, go for it.